So what is going on, guys? I'm Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video on the channel. Now, you might not be surprised to hear me say this, but zombies once again is trending. Now, to be fair, this time it isn't all to do with Call of Duty Zombies. There is one other zombie related thing we know of that is going on right now, which is The Last of Us. So that's had a big part to play, but there were over 12,000 people talking about zombies. And what also contributed towards this was a discussion or a hot take, I guess you could say, that's been going on within the zombies community to do with the way downloadable content has gone, not only in zombies, but Call of Duty as a whole. DLC and COD is free, but you might remember a time when it wasn't, when you'd have to pay £60 a year for a season pass, where you'd have to pay, I think it was like £20 for a DLC pack, and we get 4 DLC packs throughout the year. There was a time when we had to pay for multiplayer in zombies maps in COD, but ever since Modern Warfare 2019, that changed. Activision made DLC free, but also ever since then, people have been saying, well, was this for the better or was it for the worst? Did the quality of downloadable content change once it became free? Was it of a higher quality when we had to pay for it? And I suppose the ultimate question that people have been asking is it worth it? If there was a shift in quality from us having to pay for it to it becoming free, then is it worth it? Is it worth paying for content that might be higher in quality, or would you rather get it for free if it means the quality of the maps we are getting drops, whether it be a lot or just a little bit? And is that even the case? This has been a conversation for quite a long time, to be honest, but the reason why it's been trending is, I believe, from this tweet from Greg, where he said, hot take, free DLC ruins zombies maps and quality. As you can imagine, there are tons of different replies to this, a lot of people agreeing, a lot of people not. Just a couple of interesting ones. Like I said, I agree, many people were assuming we would get 4 zombies maps during the Cold War season. We never really had any actual guarantee, and I feel that uncertainty now more than ever with Outbreak being confirmed for COD 2024. Not to say it's bad, just content is optional now. Someone else pointed out, I think it's easy to make this point when there's only been 3 free DLC maps released on a game that's so different compared to all of the others on similar engines. I'm not saying Cold War's maps are amazing, but they definitely weren't bad in my opinion. And Greg said, I'm not saying they're bad, but there is clearly a quality difference. A facilitator map might be the reason I feel all of the maps are the same. Until the free model can provide unique and clear-cut bangers, I stand by my opinion. Mara is the best map, say 7.5 out of 10. This person said Cold War was better than 3 of the 4 ether maps from Black Ops 4. You cannot tell me you'd rather play Alpha, make the Ice Catalyst somehow more annoying Omega. That would be the most contrarian take ever. And another interesting point that I really didn't think of, which is also how this affects the multiplayer maps as well. Because I really only focus on zombies, to be honest, I don't pay attention to multiplayer maps anymore, not the DLC ones. I haven't done since, God, maybe Black Ops 2? In terms of multiplayer, that was probably the last game I played all throughout its life cycle, so I played each and every DLC map quite a bit. After that, I stopped and I just played it now and again. So I can't really give my opinion on multiplayer maps and if them becoming free has affected the quality of them. I will say I've noticed a lot more remasters, but in terms of zombies, on one hand, this is a point I could agree with, but at the same time, it is quite difficult to give a certain answer, just because, as someone pointed out, the games we've gotten since DLC has been free was Cold War and Vanguard. Now, we can write Vanguard off altogether. That game, no matter what, I think even if it was paid content, there was just no way it was going to work. So Cold War, as far as zombies goes, is really the only thing we can take examples from, and even then, with that game's development, it wasn't perfect. We were told by leakers before that game even came out, Cold War originally wasn't even Treyarch's game, it was, I think it was Sledgehammer's, and then Treyarch came in. They didn't have the full 3 years they usually would have to develop Cold War. I've never really known if that's true or not, but if it is, then it's still quite difficult to compare it to older games, BO4, 3, 2, 1, but since that's the only example we've really got for zombies, just in my opinion, if we look at the quality of DLC maps for Cold War compared to the quality of DLC maps for BO4, 3, 2, and 1, World at War's a little bit different, but I think the quality of Firebase C, Maudertoten, and Forsaken, which were the 3 DLC maps we got for Cold War, for the most part aren't anywhere near the quality of any of the other DLC maps we've received for previous games. Someone pointed out, well, what about Alpha Omega? How annoying that map is with some enemies. I think there's a difference between the quality of a map and how it's designed, the amount of content it's got packed into it, compared to an annoying enemy, for example. Any game, no matter the quality of it, can have annoying enemies, so I don't think something like that really is to do with the quality. And BO4 Zombies, I think, was in a little bit of a different situation, because there were big budget cuts. Some Treyarch developers left halfway through BO4's life cycle, including the main man, Jason Mundell, which affected things. And because of BO4 Zombies' storyline, how that massively affected the maps, that played a major role on where we went to. Let's say we never had Nuketown before and Alpha Omega was a brand new fresh map. Is that map better than what we've seen in Cold War. Of course, a lot of this is opinion based, but for the most part, just looking at the 3 DLC Zombies maps we got in Cold War, D Machine is undoubtedly the best map in that game in my opinion, but the DLC maps Firebase C I don't think is anything special. Maudertoten was a good map, Forsaken was okay, but not free finale. And what were the problems with these maps? Well, the number one complaint I can remember was that they just weren't unique enough. They resembled too much of campaign levels or multiplayer maps. Yes, Zombies maps have always reused assets, but Treyarch have always found a way to hide that pretty well, where they look unique. Take Horizon Draka, Mob of the Dead, Shadows of Evil, Zetsubo Shima. We go to BO2's maps, Transit, Die Rise, Buried, Origins. We go to Black Ops 1's, Kino Der Toten. Ascension's pretty obvious, but Shangri-La, Moon, Call of the Dead. You would struggle with all of those maps, besides from a couple, to tell me which campaign or multiplayer map or level they are from. Whereas with Cold War, it's pretty obvious with almost all of the maps. D Machine is unique, but Firebase C, the starting area is from the campaign mission, granted the rest of it is different. Maudertoten is from the Berlin campaign mission, that's pretty obvious. Forsaken, most of that's from the campaign. Whereas with all of those Black Ops 3, 2 and 1 maps I've just listed, it's difficult to tell which campaign missions they were from if you didn't know. Cold Wars is easy because there isn't too many differences compared to what we're used to. So I think that had a lot to do with it, the fact that they just weren't unique enough for Zombies maps. Another big part of Zombies is the Easter eggs. I don't think anyone's going to argue that Cold War didn't have as many Easter eggs as what we saw in BO4, 3, 2, 1 Zombies. The storyline is more opinion based. It depends on how you like your story to be told and what you want from it, but I preferred BO4, 3, 2, and 1 story and World at Wars compared to what we were told in Cold War and Vanguard. So for me, with everything I've just mentioned that in my opinion makes a Zombies map, all of that contributes towards its quality, and what we were given as DLC in Cold War wasn't up to the standard I am used to in Zombies. But like I said, it's difficult to say whether this is to do with Zombies DLC becoming free or not, because we've only really got one example. Who knows, by the time COD 2024 comes around and we get the next Treyarch game, and it includes Zombies, the DLC in that game could be totally different to what we received in Cold War, which would blow the idea of it being free means lower quality out of the water. The last thing I will say is, since DLC has become free, ever since Modern Warfare 2019, Activision have earned a hell of a lot more money than what they did when DLC was paid for, because a lot of more people buy the Battle Pass now or microtransactions compared to paying £60 a year for a season pass. So the argument you could have used is, well, when people were paying for DLC, that was more incentive for the developers to get it right and make the quality higher because they actually had customers paying for it. When you're giving out something for free, perhaps you don't care about the quality as much compared to when someone's paying you for it. I suppose that could be an argument, even though Activision now earn a hell of a lot more money through the Battle Pass and microtransactions, but I don't think that's the case. Honestly, I just think it's because of the situation that Cold War was in. I'm not going to deny that I do think the quality of the DLC content was lower, but I don't really think it had to do with it being free. I think by the time 2024 COD comes around, and Treyarch get another chance, it will be a hell of a lot higher because of a higher budget, them taking on a ton of new developers, and them having an extra year to work on it. But yeah, there we go. Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video today. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.